Sonic Origins Plus. That's a thing now. 4 remastered games all in one package for us to play for the, what, 20th time now? But now with playable Amy! Also, Origins? Really? Where's Knuckles Chaotix? Where's Sega Sonic? Sonic Fighters? Sonic R? If this is an Origins to showcase everyone's fan favorite characters and where they came from, then the title is a lie!
Joking aside, Sonic game collections are nothing new. But it seems like every 5 years or so, Sega releases another compilation of Sonic's greatest hits on current consoles. The same greatest hits almost every time.
Because it's not like you have any other games in your library that could do with a modern re-release on current consoles to showcase to the newer fans that you suck it in with his 90s nostalgia-baited compilations. Do you? Do you, Sega? Surely you could spare some dev time into porting a beloved trilogy of adventure games onto modern consoles to showcase to the fans that you are indeed listening to them. Sega.
No, I'm not going to start hating on Sega for doing this, it's fine, I get it. And almost every new collection has offered something new while also hosting a collection of games that, let's face it, is an easy and convenient way to play on whatever the newest console is, without having to dig through your closet to find your PS2 or Wii.
And I want to showcase all the ones that I own, barring a few that are just multi-packs of PC or console releases. Like, how much are you willing to spend on a dual pack of... Anyway, let's get started with Sonic Compilation on the Genesis.
The Mega Drive was no stranger to compilations such as the Mega Games series or the Mega 6. Yes, 6 Mega Drive games on one cartridge that came with a Mega Drive 2. Now that is value for money. Sonic Compilation, or Sonic Classics as it's known in the USA, contains Sonic 1, 2, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. All 3 games work like the original cartridges, except Sonic 2 had some tweaks made for this release, making it a revision rather than a straight up port.
Other than the menu, nothing really new was added. It was just a more convenient way to play 3 classics on one cartridge. And I know what you're thinking. Can I use this to lock on with Sonic and Knuckles to play Knuckles in Sonic 2? No. Because of some technical know-how, the cartridge only recognizes the Sonic 1 portion of this, not Sonic 2. So you can only use this to play Blue Spheres.
Before I jump ahead to the newer stuff, I want to bring up this little ditty, Sonic 2-in-1 for the Game Gear, which was only released in Europe. This little cart contains Sonic 2 and Sonic Spinball, which is pretty impressive for a Game Gear cartridge, but you can only switch between them by resetting the power. Nothing else to add other than the fact that it's a very rare cart to find.
Jumping ahead of console generation, we have Sonic Jam on the Sega Saturn. Now this game is well known and well loved, not only having the 4 classic games, the 3 lock-on games, but also having the 3D Sonic World, which, if you didn't know, was the template for the upcoming Sonic Adventure.
Though it hasn't aged that well, this was a treat for the eyes. Sonic World essentially acted as a hub world for movies, artwork, and the aforementioned games, though you could still run around, collect rings, and do short missions. Also, Tails is here! What makes this probably one of the more better collections is that all 4 games were built from the ground up, specifically for this compilation, meaning Sonic could use a spin dash in the first Sonic game. But it also had new difficulty modes for newcomers and veterans to the series. There's the original games, Normal, which adds more rings and changes to the level design to make it easier, and Easy Mode, which removes stages completely in order to make completing the game easier, such as completely omitting Wing Fortress.
This is definitely a standout compilation, but from this point forward, Sega decided to not utilize the console hardware to their advantage, but instead opted to use emulation for a more one-to-one experience.
Jumping ahead to the compilation that nearly everyone owned or still owns, Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, which was later re-released for the PS2 and Xbox as Mega Collection Plus. I'll talk about that one later, so let's focus on the GameCube one. Oh yeah, now this was something else. All 7 Sonic titles on one disc, with 5 unlockable games and a museum for fanatics to drool over. Also, let it be known that this was the first time that Cream the Rabbit was first shown off to the masses in a trailer to Sonic Advance 2.
Mega was the right name for this. 12 games to play through, every Archie comic cover to date, plus a full comic to read, trailers, the full uncompressed videos of Sonic CD. This was the Sonic compilation to own. I barely got anything bad to say about it. Yeah, I got a couple negatives.
Firstly, the music. It's iconic for sure, but the museum theme gets really grating when you're trying to read the comic included. and the means of unlocking all the extra games is torture. I swear to you, this is no joke, but to simply unlock the ability to play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you have to load up and play Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles 20 times each.
Are you kidding me? I have to load up and then quit a game continuously in order to play a new one? I get they want to make you work for it, but that's not the worst one. To play Rise Star, Rise Star, you first need to unlock the 3 lock-on games, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Knuckles and Sonic 2, and Blue Spheres. That means playing everything but Mean Bean Machine 20 times each, and then play those 3 lock-on games 30 times each! That means you are starting and quitting all but 2 games for a total of 210 times. And add another 30 on top of that to get flicky, and that's 240 restarts to play every game. Yes, I bloody well did it!
But what about the Plus version released 3 years later? What makes it Plus? Well, firstly, more games. Adding to what the original has, we also get Comic Zone and the Ooze, which are odd choices, but they're good anyway. In which, yes, you have to play the games multiple times to unlock. Unless you have a save file of Sonic Heroes, then happy birthday to you. Plus 6 Game Gear titles. It's not all good though, the Sonic CD movies have been removed, as well as the trailers for Adventure 2 Battle and Advance 2, which makes sense because those games have already been released, and are replaced by videos of Sonic Heroes, including some in-production clips. The Archie comic covers have been expanded, obviously, but can I say how much I don't like the menu? It's too simple and contemporary and lacks the Sega Vault look and colours of the original. I like some things such as the backgrounds and a little screen and console to the side changing as you navigate the menu, but yeah, I still prefer the GameCube version.
Now you may be asking yourself, why just 6? Weren't there 12 games released on Sega's handheld? And yes, you are correct. The other 6 were on the next compilation, Sonic Gems Collection.
My criticisms of the menu still apply, but I get the needed consistency between this and Plus. This compilation is probably one of the most standout ones Sonic has, as it contains games that would never have seen the light of day beyond their debut. Sonic CD, Sonic R, and Sonic the Fighters, which many of us growing up never had the chance to see, let alone play. It was a legend to me growing up. A Sonic fighting arcade cabinet? Where? And how? As I said earlier, the other 6 Game Gear games are here, as well as both Vectorman titles. Again, odd choices, but I'm not knocking them. I love Vectorman. Luckily, you don't have to spend time resetting every game to unlock them. Just have a hero save file and play the collection for 7 hours. Instead, you can play each game 125 times total, as well as playing for extended periods of time and other objectives to unlock all the bonus artworks, videos, demos to the previous collection of games, and music in the museum.
Did you do all that?
Yes, I did. The demos need discussing because they start at the end of the game and you have minutes to complete them. But once you do, the game resets to the beginning, meaning that all the games from Mega Collection Plus are here too, just limited. It needs to be said that this is not a perfect collection. For starters, it's the PC version of Sonic CD, not the Mega CD version, so it has the same audio and visual problems. Second, the Japanese version had 4 more games, Bonanza Bros. And the Bare Knuckle trilogy, better known as Streets of Rage 2. Third, there's no Knuckles Chaotix. It teases you with artwork in the museum, but it, along with Sega Sonic the arcade game, it wasn't included for technical reasons.
And finally, this was never released on Xbox, despite the fact of it owning Mega Collection Plus. But the Plus version was never released on GameCube, so people missed out on the first 6 Game Gear games. I have a problem.
But if you own a copy of Sonic Adventure DX, you could play all 12 Game Gear titles after completing the game. It's not technically a compilation, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Besides a fully remastered version of Sonic Adventure, which many will argue is better or worse than the original, it was given a wealth of extra content, a mission mode that unlocks after finishing each character's story, and a minigame collection. But this collection makes you work for it, as you need to collect all 130 emblems, as well as completing all 60 missions.
Like I said, SADX is not a compilation, and the Game Gear games were given to you as a reward rather than a pat on the back for completing the game.
For a long while now, Sonic compilations had only been seen on consoles, so let's jump over to the Nintendo DS with Sonic Classic Collection. and I really don't like it. To be fair, it's acceptable. If I'm on a long flight or train ride and I only had this and Metroid Prime Pinball to entertain me, I'd play Metroid Prime Pinball first, but at least the games are playable, unlike the last time we got Sonic ported to a handheld. We get all 4 Mega Drive titles, as well as Knuckles in Sonic 2 and Knuckles in Sonic 3, what? As well as a selection of illustrations.
Now this is the part where things go downhill for Sonic Classic Collection. Because despite being reasonably playable, the games are running on a custom emulator for the DS, which just brings in a whole bag of problems.
Firstly, the resolution is squished and causes the game to have this odd scrolling effect when switching left or right. Second, there are major slowdown and frame rate issues when it gets too busy, but not as bad as Sonic Genesis when it feels like you're playing backwards. Third, getting the power sneakers in any game just raises the pitch of the music rather than speeding up. Finally, be this a nitpick or oblivious game design, but to pause the game you have to tap the icon on the touchscreen. Yeah, the start button, something that's been universally known to pause games, does bull. At least being able to load and save your games is novel.
And finally, there is the Sega Genesis Collection. Now I know this is not technically a Sonic compilation since it only has 2 Sonic games. It needs talking about because of its sequel, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, which has all 7 games out of a library of 48. And since Sonic's in the name, I might as well talk about it.
Yes, as I said, all 7 Sonic games are here, but not the 3 lock-on games, making it a lesser Sonic compilation. Besides that, this robust collection of classic games does have unlockables once certain criteria have been met, such as getting a set amount of score in Altered Beast, or getting a Chaos Emerald in Sonic the Hedgehog. But most of the unlockables are interviews with developers, as well as a few Sega Arcade and Master System titles such as Golden Axe Warrior and Zaxxon. And what I like most about this collection is that you can set the games in a certain order other than just A to Z. You can have it in release order, by genre, or my favourite, your score of 1 to 5. I know it's not much, but at least this way, I can get the Streets of Rage 2 faster. And yes, this collection has been re-released and expanded upon on Steam and current consoles, with the Steam version allowing you to play the mods of said titles. Want to play as Sonic in Streets of Rage? Have at it. Also, it's VR enabled, so you can feel like you're playing on a gaming console in your bedroom. Yeah, it's basically worthless, but it's there. And because of Sonic Origins, the original quadrilogy of titles are delisted. So in order to play the games as they were on Steam, you would need to already have bought them or buy Origins. Smart move, Sega. Speaking of Sonic Origins, how does that fare compared to every other collection? Well, like I said, it's a good collection, despite the fact it was marred with bugs that were thankfully patched, and replacing fan favourite music tracks with lesser prototype versions. But there's plenty of added content such as the original games, mirror mode, boss rushes, and missions to complete. But again, the price is a bit too high for this kind of compilation. It's a decent collection of remastered games for newer fans to experience, and I'm glad they built these remasters from the ground up rather than relying on emulation. Also, was it really worth it to include the 30th Anniversary Symphony as well as Sonic Mania Adventures? Videos we can find and more likely have seen online years prior? And with the upcoming Origins Plus, something I predicted would happen before this collection even released, adding all 12 Game Gear titles, a playable Amy Rose, and making Knuckles playable in Sonic CD, Origins is definitely the go-to collection for those wanting to play classic Sonic on modern consoles.
And that's every Sonic compilation out there. I skipped a few such as the Dreamcast collection and the Sega Smash Pack on Dreamcast and PC, which only feature one Sonic game. Also, Sonic 1 sounds weird for some reason. And don't get me started with Sega Smash Pack on Game Boy Advance featuring Sonic Spinball. If I had to choose my favourites, I'd go with the 1-2 punch of Mega and Gems collection on GameCube, followed closely by Ultimate Collection and Origins. I don't know how to end this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video if you did and subscribe for future videos. And if you really want to support the channel, you can by leaving a super thanks or becoming a YouTube member. Thanks again everyone, and as always, I shall see you all next time.